वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Namaste and a hearty welcome to one and all for today's 44th session of our series Gift, Gita for Inner Freedom and Transformation. Bhagavan Krishna says that people who have no faith in the Dharma are unable to attain moksha and are caught in the cycle of repeated birth and death. He says that the entire cosmic manifestation is pervaded by his unmanifest form and that all living beings dwell in me, but I do not dwell in them. At first glance, there seems to be a seeming contradiction, but wait. He goes on to say that as the mighty wind which blows everywhere rests always in the sky, similarly, all living beings always rest in me. Then, when Mahapralaya, the great annihilation, occurs, what happens to all creation, to all the living beings? All these important aspects of Ishwara Swarupam, or nature of God, are covered in today's verses 3 to 7 of the 9th chapter, Raja Vidya, Raja Guhya Yoga. They shall be explained by Dr. Netra, Srimati Smita Pai, Dr. Sandhya Ravi, Srimati Apeksha, and Srimati Pallavi. Dr. Anupama shall moderate this session. She will give us a brief introduction to the day's topics. Over to Dr. Anupama.
Thank you, Sri Shiv Kumar. Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Shri Krishnaya Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Today, as Shri Shiv Kumar just said, we are doing Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verses 3 to 7. As we know, this chapter is called Raja Vidya, Raja Guhya Yoga, the yoga of sovereign science and sovereign secret. Here, Krishna imparts Nirguna Ishwara Jnanam. He says, Pashyame Yogam Aishwaryam. See me as the Paramarthika Satyam. See, not with the physical eyes, but with an intellectual understanding. Yat param sakala vag agocharam, gocharam vimala bodha chakshushaha, meaning sa atma sa vigneya. For what benefit? This Brahma Jnanam, he says, mokshase ashubhat, gives us freedom from samsara. So how do we get this Brahma Jnanam? By Vedanta Shravana Manana Nididhyasana. The most explicit description of Nirguna Brahman is in Mantra 7 of Mandukya. I shall read this for you. Na anta prajnam, na bahish prajnam, na ubhayata prajnam, na prajnana ghanam, na prajnam, na aprajnam, adrishtam, avyavaharyam, agrahyam, alakshanam, achintyam, avyapadeshyam, eka atma pratyayasaram, prapanchopashamam, shantam shivam, advaitam, chaturtam manyate, sa atma sa vigneyam. Now, out of these 18 words, let's focus on the word advaitam. What is the meaning of advaitam? It means non-dual. It means without a second. We know that the foundation stone of Advaita is two orders of reality. First, the Paramarthika Satta, or the absolute reality, which we call Brahman, and the Vyavaharika Satta, or the empirical reality, which we experience in Jagrat Avastha. We also know there is the Pratibhasika Satta, the subjective reality experienced in Swapna Avastha, which is as Mithya as the Vyavaharika Satta. Now, with this information, we have a better definition for Advaitam. Advaitam is without a second Paramarthika Satyam. What comes from Advaitam Brahma? Nothing. Gaudapadacharya calls this Ajativada. Why? Because Brahman is Karya Karana Vilakshana. Quoting Viveka Chudamani, Ekam eva sat, meaning there is only one Paramarthika Satyam. Aneka Karanam, Vyavaharika Satya are numerous and diverse. Karanantara Nirasha Karanam, Brahman is the causeless cause. Karya Karana Vilakshanam Swayam Brahma. And where is that Brahman? Tattvamasi Bhavayatmani. So, from where did we and the rest of the world come? Ajaya Mano Bahuda Vijayate. Swamiji calls this a $1 million Purusha Sutra. It means without being born, things are born. Without really existing, things seemingly exist. This is why Lord Krishna says, matsthani sarva bhutani, meaning seemingly everything is in me, and nacha mastani bhutani, factually nothing is in me. So what is there? Brahman is, was, and will ever be. We see here a peculiar expression of location without duality. Normally, the word matsthani means mai sthithani, or located in me. Here, it does not mean physically located, as in coffee within a cup, because this gives a sense of duality. Coffee and cup, there is dvaitam. So, matsthani means superimposed upon me. Matsthani means adyasthani. Just as Swapna Prapancha is superimposed upon the waker, just as mirage water upon dry sand, a snake upon a rope, we see the entire universe is matsthani, mai kalpitani, mai adyasthani. How is this possible? Maya kalpita deshakala kalana vaichitrya chitri kritam. What is the message here? It means isness or existence does not belong to the world. Why? Yasya eva spuranam sadatmakam asatkalpartakam bhasate. And that isness is Brahman, which is me. So without any doubt, we now understand matsthani sarva bhutani means all things enjoy existence or isness because of me. Maya Atmana, who am the very nature of existence. That is how Ya Brahmadi Pipila Kanta Tanushu Prota Jagat Sakshini. But very significantly, Nachamastani Bhutani. So, although Brahman lends isness to all beings from Chaturmukha Brahma up to an ant, there is no Karya Karana Sambandha. Therefore, Krishna says, I am a Sangha. There is nothing in me. Nacha matsthani bhutani. Gaudapada Acharya's expression being a sparsha yoga. This Mithya universe cannot touch me because we know na nirodha asti. There is no dissolution. Na utpatti asti. There is no creation. Baddho nacha sadhaka na mumukshu na vai muktaha. Ityesha paramarthatha. This is the absolute truth. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. So how do we conceive this Brahman? Don't even try, because Brahman is, as we have already seen, adrishtam avyavaharyam, agrahyam, achintyam, avyapadeshyam. We must remember at all times, tad eva Brahma, tvam viddhi nedam yaditam upasate. Whatever Brahman meditated upon as object is not real Brahman. Why? Because Brahman is the subject. Dr. Netra will now explain verse 3 for us. Over to you, madam.
Namaste, Hari Om, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. So as madam explained, In chapter 7, God was described as higher para prakriti and lower apara prakriti. Chapter 8 describes a unique krama mukti of attaining moksha, and this chapter 9 talks about God as parak prakriti, which we attain through jivan mukti. So, in the first 3 verses of chapter 9, we get the introduction of Ishwara Jnanam. In 9.1, Krishna describes why he gave this Jnanam to Arjuna, because he is Anasuya, a good student who had a non-critical mind and shraddha. In 9.2, he describes this as royal Raja Vidya that gives liberation, the Pavitram that is available directly here and now. So coming to the next slide, the verse 9.3 goes as Ashraddhatana Purushaha Dharmasyasya Parantapa Aprapya Mam Nivartante Mrityu Samsaravatmani. The shloka goes as, O Arjuna, those people who have no faith in this teaching continue certainly in this course of samsara, fraught with death without attaining me. Let us understand this in the next slide. Krishna says that in spite of all the glorification that he has done about Ishwara Jnanam, unfortunately, many people do not want to resort to understand or acquire this knowledge of Ishwara Jnanam. It is the greatest, it's freely available, the greatest wisdom, gives highest joy and security. Still, many people do not vote for this because they do not trust it, because people do not have shraddha in the efficacy of this teaching, Ishwara Jnanam, Vedantic teaching. In the next slide. Not having trust in Brahma Vidya, they miss the infinite ananda, infinite security. They lose the opportunity to attain moksha. And then, suppose you say that I have a next birth and therefore I can do that there, as we are experts in postponing. So how do we know that our next janma is going to be a Manushya janma? And how do we know that we'll get the opportunity to learn? And therefore, we miss this rare opportunity in this janma. Then eventually what is going to happen? Nivartante means nishchayena vartante. That is, they'll definitely continue to be in samsara. And the problem in samsara is it has problems, disease, decay, separation, loss. The worst thing is mortality, which is a permanent sense of insecurity that one continues throughout life. In the next slide. In the Moolam, Shankaracharya ji says, we should have shraddha in Atma Jnanam. If we don't have shraddha, then we will not work for this knowledge and not get moksha, which means we'll continue to wallow in samsara. So those people who do not have shraddha or faith in Atma Jnanam, the consequences are that they have disbelief in the existence of Atma Jnanam, nor the phalam of Atma Jnanam. They are nothing but nastikas. And according to the scriptures, among all the papams, the greatest or the worst papam is considered to be atheism. This type of nastikatvam is because of purva janma papam. And according to Shastram, every individual, we learned this in the Tattva Bodha, that every individual consists of 4 components: Stula Shariram, Sukshma Shariram, Karana Shariram, and Atma. And of these 4 components, only one component can be proved through Pratyaksha Pramanam. In the next slide. The modern science does not accept the mind. Modern science accepts only the brain. Why? What is the difference between brain and mind? The mind survives the death of the individual, whereas brain is destroyed. The mind will travel with vasanas, but there is no scientific proof for this. Therefore, Nastikas will not accept Sukshma Shariram. They do not accept another loka, Purva Janma. That is why most of our children do not believe in Shraddham. They will ask, what is the proof for our forefathers' survival? Offering ghee into the fire is a waste. Take that ghee and give to some institution or some children. Why are we wasting that money in Shraddham and Tarpanam? This philosophy, Shankaracharya ji says that all rituals which we say that it is waste is called as philosophy of asuras. And Shankaracharya ji says Nastikas are papakarina and they take to Asuranam Upanishadam. In the next slide, the context what is given here is Indra and Virochana going to Brahma. We know that it was almost 4 to 5 classes that Brahmaji teaches completely about the individual. But Virochana attains only the first class, which Brahma teaches the first component of the individual, that is Sthula Shariram. And Virochana, he attains only that and understands that Sthula Shariram is the only thing which is Satya. So he goes back and starts teaching all the people that Sthula Shariram eva Atma. Suksha Shariram nasti, Punarjanma nasti, Karmani na nasti. Rituals are waste, puja is waste. So that is Asuranam Upanishadam. Therefore, those who don't do darpanam to their forefathers and do darpanam to their own 5 sense organs are called nastikas, who will not reach God. And when they don't come to Ishwara Marga, where is the question of reaching Ishwara, the destination? In the next slide, Bhakti is equal to sadhana, equal to Ishwara Marga. If they don't believe in Bhakti, they don't believe in temple, going up early in the morning, Nastikas will continue to be in samsara. That is the cyclic path of Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, and they continue to be in samsara. So in the next slide, in conclusion, this verse 9.3 talks about the importance of Bhakti, sadhana, Ishwara Marga. Shraddha, gaining knowledge, we attain moksha. Otherwise, we continue to wallow in samsara. This is the essence of this shloka. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Dr. Netra. The key word here, as Madam just explained, is shraddha, which is faith in Guru and Shastra, a mandatory prerequisite for Brahma Jnanam. Moving on, Madam Switha will now explain verse 4 for us. This is Nirguna Brahma Swarupa. Smita, please.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. The verse 4 goes like this. Maya tatamidam sarvam jagadvyaktamurtina matsthani sarva bhutani nachaham teshvavastitaha. From verse 4 onwards, Lord Krishna starts the discussion of Ishwara Swarupam, which goes up to verse number 10. This is the central theme of chapter 9. Here, Shri Krishna is talking about the higher nature of Ishwara Swarupam or Nirguna Ishwara Swarupam or Brahma Swarupam. And the definition is Para Prakriti is avyaktamurtihi Ishwaraha. God in his higher nature is attributeless or formless. Avyaktam means anindriya gocharam, which means not perceptible to any sense organs. It means ashabdam, asparsham, avyaktam, avyayam, tatha arasam, agandhacha yat, which is explained in Kathopanishad part 1, canto 3, verse 15. Two descriptions of Nirguna Ishwara is given in this verse. The first description is Nirguna Ishwara sarvagatam, that is all-pervading. Tatam means sarvagatam. And the second description of Nirguna Ishwara is Jagat Adhishtanam. In the second line, Lord Krishna points out that the whole world is located in me and I am not located in the world. Now, when you say world is in Bhagavan, naturally our mind thinks of two things. One is Bhagavan and the other is world. The world is located and the Bhagavan is the support. Thus, we may think of supported duality. It's like when you say water is in the vessel, there are two things. One is vessel and the other is water. This brings duality. Wherever we talk about adharam, it brings duality. Therefore, we should take the example of water and the wave or gold and the ornaments. We know that ornaments are located in the gold, but there is no duality in the form of gold and ornaments. Ornaments are located in gold is an expression, but really speaking, there are no ornaments separate from gold. World is located in Bhagavan is an expression. There is no world other than Bhagavan. In Bhashyam, the peculiar location without involving duality is explained like this. Maya mama yaha paro bhavaha tena tatam vyaptam sarvam idam jagat. Avyaktamurtina na vyaktamurtihi swarupam yasya mama yasaha aham avyaktamurtihi. Shankaracharya ji says, in the first line of the verse proper, the word Maya, we should take the highest Nirguna, Para Prakriti Rupa Ishwara only. He says, Mama yaha paro bhavaha, my own higher nature is there in the form of Nirguna Brahma. Tata Vyaptam is pervaded. And what is pervaded? Sarvam idam jagat. This is this entire universe. Here, Lord Krishna himself explains what type of Bhagavan he is referring to. Avyakta Murtina. Murti means nature and na avyakta means not available to sense organs. A nature which is inaccessible to sense perception. So thus in my Nirguna Brahma Swarupam, I pervade the entire creation. Shankaracharya ji says, comes to the second line, which begins with matsthani, my matsthani, which is beautifully explained by Dr. Arumpamaji, means located in me. In Vedantic language, this location we call it as superimposition. Just as Swapna Prapancha is superimposed on the waker, similarly the entire universe is Mai Mastani or Mai Kalpitani. And what is located in all the living things and beings, right from Brahmaji, the creator, up to the minute creature. So from the creator to a creature, the creator is also superimposed and the creature is also superimposed. In fact, the entire triangular format is superimposed. Shankaracharya ji is alertly interpreting these verses. As explained earlier, when we say world is in God, we should take appropriate example like wave located in water and ornaments located in gold, etc. World does not exist separate from God. This is the first important lesson. The second important feature is it is a very subtle lesson. When you say wave is or exists, the existence does not belong to the wave, it is borrowed from the water. Similarly, when you say the world is, the isness does not belong to the world, it is borrowed from Nirguna Brahma. Pure existence is not available, but existence mixed with Namarupa is available for transaction. Now, Shankaracharya ji explains the fourth quarter of the shloka. Naja aham teshu avastitaha, tesham bhutanam aham eva atma iti. Since I am the very atma or existence or content of all of them, this is in inverted comma, that is atma means content or essence. When we talk about Bhagavan as a content, it's like saying water in the content of the wave. Similarly, Bhagavan is a content, antaryami, inner dweller. Brahman is subtler than Akasha, therefore Brahman cannot have contact with the world in the form of Adara Adheya Sambandha. And that is explained as Nahi Asam Sargi, means a contactless entity. As you cannot say space is located somewhere, in the same way I am not located in the world, there is no duality also. Therefore, the third feature of the higher nature of God is Jagat Adara or Jagat Adishtanam. He is Masthani Bhutani. He is the supporter of the universe. To sum it up, Lord is formless, Lord is all-pervading, and Lord is a support of all. The Anvaya goes like this. Avyaktamurtina maya idam sarvam jagattatam sarva bhutani mastani aham cha teshuna avastitaha. Thank you.
Thank you, Smita. That was a very nice explanation. Here we see the words describing Brahman are avyakta. Avyakta means indriya agochara, not perceived by sense organs. And hence, those words from Mantra 7, adrishtam, achintyam, agrahyam, etc. Second is idam sarvam tatam. meaning sarvagatam. And third, matsthani, sarva bhutani, meaning I am Vishwa Adhara, the Adhishtanam. Remember, this is the Adhya Rupa stage. And finally, nacha aham teshu avastitaha. I am not dependent on this world for my existence, meaning I am a sangha. The next verse, number 5, will be explained to us by Dr. Sandhya Ravi. Over to you, madam.
Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Na cha matsthani bhutani pashya me yogamaishwaram bhuta brinna cha bhutasto mamatma bhuta bhavana. In fact, the beings are not in me. See my divine yoga. I myself am the creator of the beings and the sustainer of beings, but I am not in the beings. This is a unique verse in the Gita because it contradicts what has just been said in the previous verse. Krishna has just said, all beings are in me in the previous verse, and here he says, all beings are not in me. And it is Adi Shankara who resolves this contradiction in his Bhashya. Krishna cannot make two contradictory statements. So we have to look for validation of both these statements. All beings are in me and all beings are not in me. We need to understand the concept of the different orders of reality first, and also understand that these orders of reality can coexist, and only then we can resolve this contradiction. Throughout the verses, various aspects of Brahman are described. Sarvagata, avyaktam, Mithya Jagat Adhisthana, Brahman as Srishti, Sthiti, Layakaran. When we look at the Upanishadic teachings, there are two orders of reality. The lower order at one level, which looks at the existent world and beings, and the higher order at the second level, which looks at the seemingly existent world. And the existent, non-existent, sad, asad, vilakshana, or the anirvachaniya, which is the indescribable, undefinable nature of Brahman, is brought about by a hidden methodology called the Adhyaropa Apavada Nyaya by Adi Shankara in these verses 4 and 5. Apavada is a special rule that sets aside the general rule, and it's basically an exception to the rule. And then there is superimposition of attribution followed by negation, and this is the Adhyaropa Apavada. So what is this Adhyaropa stage? First, understanding Brahman and accepting the existence of the world is Adhyaropa Nyaya. Appreciating Brahman after negating the world is Apavada Nyaya. In the Adhyaropa stage, we accept the world exists. Brahman is Jagat Karanam, cause of the universe, and the world is Karya. So there is Karya Karana Sambandha. And how do we appreciate this Karya Karana Sambandha? The Karya Prapancha is resting on the Karana Brahman, because Karana Brahman is Vishwadharam. So the world or everything is in Brahman. Now, when we look at the essence of every Karya, that is the Karana. We know that the essence of an ornament is gold, the essence of furniture is wood, and the essence of air is water. So Karanam is the inner essence. So Brahman is in everything. That is Antaryami. Vishwadharam, the world or everything is in Brahman. Antaryami, Brahman is in everything. So both connect and denote the Karya Karana Sambandha. World is in God and vice versa. We now look at Brahman in the Apavada Prakriya. Karyam cannot exist without the Karanam. World cannot exist by itself. It is only a superimposition. It has only a Nama and Rupa. So it comes under the Mithya category. And we saw in the Mandukya Upanishad, the Vaitatya Prakaranam, that the world is neither existent nor non-existent. So the Vaitatyam of the Jagat is established. So Karya Prapancha is Mithya, and the only Satyam is Brahman. So, Karana Satyam, Karyam Mithya. This is Apavada Prakriya. So, there is no Sambandha and the Sambandha is negative. Now we understand that there are two orders of reality, the Paramarthika or the higher order and the Vyavaharika or the lower order. As we evolve in our understanding of the true nature of Brahman, we negate the Sambandham and move to Karya Karana Vilakshanam. Looking at the verse, Cha, in fact, no matsthani are not in me. Bhutani, all beings are not in me. There is no Karya Karana Sambandham, Jagat Mithya, Brahma Satyam. So, there are no beings in me. Pashyam, see. Pashyame Aishwaram Yogam, see my divine yoga. So here, yoga, Krishna says, you may appreciate my divine mysterious power. That is the Yoga Maya or Yoga Shakti. And Yogam here has two meanings. Maya Shakti, because of which there is the Mithya universe, and the Atmanaha Yatatmyam, the Satya Swarupi or the Paramarthika Satya. He says, Mamatma, I myself, Bhuta Bhavanaha, I am the creator of beings, Cha Bhuta Brit, and the sustainer of beings, Na Bhutastha, but Na Cha Bhutastha, but I am not in the beings. The Bhashyam says, Idam Cha Ashcharyam Anyat Pashyat. Behold the second wonder. So what is the first wonder? World is in me, world is not in me. What is the second wonder? I am in the world, I am not in the world. This is the paradox. Even though I exist without the Karya Karana Sambandha, I support the world as though I have the Karya Karana Sambandha. The examples of rope snake and the mirage on the dry road are illustrated. So, Bhutam. So, in the slokas 4 and 5, the Srishti Sthiti Laya Karana of Brahman is defined. The creator, sustainer, and resolver. So, Brahman as the creator of the universe is Upadana Karana. Brahman as the creator of the Mithya universe is Vivarta Upadana Karanam or Adhisthana Karanam. Swami Paramatmananda ji says, the advantage of using this expression is that we appreciate the corollary. Whatever happens to the creation, it does not affect the creator at all. It does not affect Brahman. Much like the movie screen, much like the dream, makes no dent on the waker. This is Mithya Jagat Adhishthanam Adi Asangatva. Hari Om.
Thank you, Dr. Sandhya. The key words here were bhutani na matsthani. So when you appreciate me as the ekam eva paramarthika satyam, you will understand jagat mithyatvam. This is the apavada stage. I am bhuta bhava, the srishti karana, bhuta brin, the sthiti karana, being asanga, and being without karya karana sambandha, I support the world as though I have karya karana sambandha. This is technically called vivarta karana. Just as a rope is and yet is not the cause of the rope snake. Na cha bhutastaha. I am not in this world, although I seem to be in this world as antaryami karana. The gist of these two verses 4 and 5 are, the world is in me, that is vyavaharika satyam. The world is not in me, that is paramarthika satyam. I am in this world, vyavaharika. I am not in this world, paramarthika. Essentially, aham satyam jagat mithyam. The next verse, number 6, will be explained by Apeksha. Apeksha, please.
Hari Om, sir. Yatha kashi sthito nityam vayu sarvatra go mahan tatha sarvani bhutani matsthani tya adharayan. Just as the great all-pervading wind is ever present in space, in the same manner all beings are in me. Thus you understand. So Lord Krishna here says, says that the features of the Lord or the Brahman is being explained here. And how do you understand those features? So, a very beautiful and a very easy example is given, and that is of the Akasha, right? The space encompasses everything, right? The space doesn't get wet, doesn't get fire, doesn't get burnt, doesn't get affected by anything. Similarly, that way the Brahman also doesn't get impacted or affected by anything. It encompasses, the Lord encompasses everything. So it has the nature of asangvatam, right? Asangvatam, which is the unsullied nature. So you might think, right, that somebody might say, is Lord good or bad? Neither is Lord good, neither is Lord bad. How do you understand that? We will explain that later. So, no defects of the world. So, Krishna says, no defects of the world belong to me, even though I accommodate everything. Just like the space or the Akasha holds everything but doesn't get impacted. And here, Lord Krishna has taken the example, which we'll see in the next slide, will be of Vayu, and we'll see that. So neither the goodness nor the badness would affect the Lord or the Brahman that we are talking about. Krishna is beyond good or bad, beautiful or ugly. Because it can, if Lord is good or bad or beautiful or ugly, then it belongs to the empirical world or the relative world, right? But that is not how Lord features of Lord are. So the space analogy is given here by Lord Krishna very beautifully. Space accommodates everything, including the wind, right? The Vayu. So some might say the Vayu carries the fragrances of the flower. So that is the, very good fragrance. But if you go to a sewage area, then you see the foul smell. The Vayu will carry the foul smell, right? But then space will neither have the good smell, neither will hold on to the bad smell, right? So it is all pervading. Similarly, Lord is also all pervading. Mahan, the space is very vast and great. In the same way, Krishna says, all being are in me, but I'm not affected by the good or the bad people or the good or the foul smells, just like the space is not impacted by the good or the foul smell. So may you be convinced by this. Hari Om.
Thank you, Apeksha. This verse describes the asanga nature of Nirguna Brahma. Creation here is compared to Vayu and Brahman to space. This Vayu, carrying good and foul fragrances, pervades Akasha, the space, without affecting it in any way. Similarly, creation, with all its good and evil, revolves in Brahman, sarva, sarvani bhutani matsthani, without affecting Brahman. Moving on, we now have the final verse explained to us by Pallavi. Over to you, Pallavi.
Thank you, Anu. Hari Om. Sarva bhutani kaunteya prakritim yanti mamikam kalpakshaya punatani kalpadvau vishri jamyaham. Next slide, sir. This is the word meaning of the verse. Next slide, please, sir. According to the law of conservation of matter and energy, nothing can be newly created. So here Krishna says, I do not create a world at all. Before the creation of this universe, the universe was already existent in me, in my unmanifested or potential form. The manifested world is what is seen by you. For example, a huge tree is existing within a small seed in an unmanifested form, or a baby exists in the embryo in the mother's womb in an unmanifested form. The DNA of the seed or the fetus has lots of information coded in it, which carries genetic instructions for the development, functioning, growth, and reproduction of all living organisms. In case of the baby, the gender, hair, eye, and skin color, functioning of the body parts, and so on are all pre-existing. Also, many diseases based on genetics are present during the birth. It slowly starts decoding when the baby is born and growing. We do not know this information when the baby is born. And why we do not know, and why we do not know, not because they are absent. They are already there in the genes of the baby. But in what form? Avyakta rupam. Similarly, Krishna says, all the details of this universe is already coded in me in avyakta rupam. Next slide, sir. That unmanifest universe is called Prakriti, and that unmanifest universe evolves into manifest universe. He says, sarva bhutani prakritin yanti mamikam. All the beings come back to me alone in Maya form, belonging to me. Just as the manifest world is dependent on me, the unmanifest Prakriti also depends on me and resolves in me. And when does this happen? Do not get frightened or Kaunteya, not in the near future. Kalpakshaya, at the end of a kalpa. Kalpa is the name of a duration of a vast time, a Brahmaji's day, so-called, which is 2000 Katur Yugas. So when we talk about creation, the dimension or measurements will be very big. Kalpa do. At the beginning of the next kalpa, Vishri Jamyaham, it temporarily rests for the creation. Creation never ends permanently. Again, it will manifest. Narayan, Narayan.
Thank you, Pallavi. Lord Krishna says the whole creation will resolve at the time of pralayam into what Krishna says, mamikam prakritim, into my apara prakriti, my maya. And where is this maya? Mithya mounted in Satya Brahma. Brahman as nimitta karanam converts prakriti, the upadana karanam, into the universe. This is what he means by saying aham visrijami. Just as a goldsmith, the nimitta karanam converts gold, the upadana karanam, into ornaments. Now, this is a cyclic process, punaha punaha, which goes on. And creation, like the Ashwatha tree, has no adi, no beginning, no anta, no end, no sampratishta, no middle. Thank you.
Hearty thanks to Dr. Anupama and to all the speakers of the day for a very nice session, and also to all the Vedantins who have joined us today. Friends, we shall be back on the Friday, 20th September 2024 with our 18th session of Mandukya Upanishad at 6:45 p.m. Param Vedanta teachers shall explain Karikas from 11 to 15 of Advaita Prakaranam. Remember to join us on time and benefit from this enlightening knowledge of Mandukya Upanishad. Let us chant the Shanti mantra. Om Purnamadam Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Shri Krishna. Namaste.